Today we're going on a culinary adventure from Tennessee to Tricino. We're making an Italian-inspired lobster dish using French tools and techniques with a very distinct American twist. Let's get cooking. Tonight for dinner it's lobster flambé, a little sautéed spinach, capolini pasta, and fresh tarragon. In the most humane way possible, we're going to split these lobsters in half. It's just part of the gig. When you're cooking lobsters, sometimes you got to get a little messy. Oh, Mandy's holding her ears. Here we go. All right, there's 2 split lobsters. Got a little bowl here. I'm gonna remove some of this soft roe. Save it for a little bit later. And so after you split these lobsters in half, you're going to have this little vein that runs down in here. You're going to want to take that out. Alright, so you have a perfectly cleaned lobster there. We're going to bust the claws. Make a little bit of a mess. That's why we've got the big knife. The big guns for the big job. This can get a little messy, folks. You might want to wear your raincoat when you do it. It's a little bit worried that this sauté pan might be too small, but I do want to pack them in nice and tight. I have a 500-degree oven on behind me. We're going to want to cook these lobsters up as quickly as we possibly can. It's going to take a lot of cleaning in here tonight. The soft meat of the lobster tail is now fully exposed, so that's going to cook up really, really quick. If we don't break these claws, then the claws aren't going to be finished by the time the soft meat in the tail is done. I'm going to get cleaned up here real quick, and then I'm going to tell you the rest of the story about these lobsters. Now that the gruesome business is out of the way, let's get on with the fun stuff. This is a really great little lobster dish. Douse this thing in olive oil. I suppose it's just what we do. I never realized I went through so much olive oil and butter until we started making these videos, and then I started playing them back. It's kind of obscene, but to make good food, you need good fat. So we're still pouring here. We're still pouring. We're gonna make sure we get a lot into these cracks down into where we busted up these lobster claws. We're getting all that olive oil in there. I maybe even went a little overboard, but too much olive oil. All right, these lobsters are packed into this pan, and that's what I wanted. I'm putting a little bit of salt just over the lobster meat. I'm gonna put a little bit of butter on there as well. What is that thing that they always say about butter? Making everything better. I do believe it's true. Okay, so now we got that butter on there. Get some of this tarragon. A little bit of tarragon right inside there in the cavity. That's a 5-alarm dish right there. I'm going to put this into the 500-degree oven and let it start to roast. While that lobster is in the oven roasting, I'm going to take some of this lobster tamale and I'm going to mix it with some of this soft butter. You can smell that lobster roasting away. It is pretty close, so I'm going to get this thin pasta going here. Now, we are doing something that a lot of times with pasta is not advised. We're going to boil this pasta in as little water as possible. I think I have about 1 quart of boiling water for this 3/4 of a pound of capolini, and the reason that is this capellini is going to begin to release its starch into that boiling water, the boiling salted water. Here we go. The reason that they recommend that you use a large pot is because pasta does in a small pot tend to stick together. Right? So we're going to make sure the pasta doesn't stick together by constantly stirring the pasta. And that is also going to help to release all of that beautiful gluten. And that is the gluten that's going to make your pasta sauce. Okay, as you can see here, a whole lot of pasta, but not a crazy lot of water. This pasta is almost al dente. We're gonna give it just a moment more and we're gonna take a quick look in on our lobster. Ooh la la, would you look at that? That is a thing of beauty right there. So our lobster tails are just cooked, our claws are starting to weep albumin. Put that back on the stove, get it nice and hot. We're gonna light this lobster up for you. Hopefully we're on YouTube under Lobster Flambé and not under guy blows himself up while trying to make lobster. Make sure that you have a lid handy to put out any unwanted flame. First chef that I worked for, this was the one move that made me want to be a chef. Right, some Jack Daniels. Remember we talked about Tennessee earlier? Alright. In goes the Jack Daniels. The bottle goes away. The lobster catches on fire. I look over, I see the lobster on fire. The chef sees me. He gets a kick out of it. Does one of these. That day, I decided I'm gonna be a chef. Smell that tarragon is starting to burn. Get that out of there. Okay. So here I've got all my beautiful oil, all that albumin that came out of the lobster. I'm gonna put that back on the fire and start it to boil. Meanwhile, our pasta is cooked. So we're gonna drain this 90%, drain it 95%, leave 5% of that beautiful starchy glutinous water inside. Lobster is roasted. I'm gonna put some of this tamale butter right into the pasta. Give it a nice mix around. Ooh, it smells like the sea. Salt. This over to the side. Find myself a chef knife. Well, this knife will do. It's kind of like bringing a machine gun to a knife fight. Spinach inside. Start to wilt that spinach a little bit. Make a huge mess. You have to make a huge mess. You gotta get spinach everywhere. Jack Daniels and lobster stuff has reduced down a bit. I'm gonna add in a nice big whack of cream. Pop that back on the fire. That's the butter I was looking for. Nice and creamy, delicious. I'm gonna go with some of that black pepper. Just gonna let that rest there for a moment. Hey Mandy, have you ever seen a butterfly? Oh, what makes butter better? A little olive oil. The key is for this to not be greasy. You want it to be emulsified. You want to be able to emulsify all of that fat in. And we're emulsifying the fat with the help of the inside of the lobster, the tamale. We're using the pasta water, all that beautiful gluten I was telling you all about, and the butter and the oil and the spinach. So you can theoretically continue to incorporate in oil as long as you have enough starch and protein to grab a hold of it and make a sauce. So you can make it as saucy as you want. That's an Italian-sized portion right there. That's good. So here we have all of the essence that dripped out of this lobster during the extremely rapid cooking process. And then just a little bit of cream. very, very, very important to the lobster process, the crab process, is lots of good fat. And right there, the lobster tamale, its own natural fat, going into this sauce. Give that just a real quick bubble. Now, something happens here with that Tennessee whiskey. I don't know if it has to do with the charcoal filtration or the spring water. I have no idea what it is, but in this particular sauce with lobster, you can't replace Jack Daniels. All right, I'm gonna spoon some of this over, mostly for the tail. Right on top of the pasta too. We've got these pea tendrils, a little bit of olive oil, something different. Some salt, a bit of pepper, need a bit of lemon. Might as well. Today, I guess it's the only knife I brought. A little bit of lemon in there. And there you have it. My Tennessee Italian French lobster flambé with Jack Daniels and Capolini. This has been Matthew Templeton. Behind the camera, as always, Mandy Munzik. Give us a bow, would you, hun? Oh, that's lovely. Check us out on Instagram. I've got a couple of food pictures up. We're just having a lot of fun. That's what's cooking in the city.